time on Casino Royale with cheese.
Crispin Glover as George McFly.
I have some interesting stuff to say about that dude.
How awesome is he?
Really, really interesting cat, bro. And he actually has this blog online now where one of his main crux that he talks about is how Steven Spielberg likes to have sex with like underage boys and stuff like that.
What?
Yeah, and he actually says that Steven Spielberg is trying to normalize having sex with underage boys, like Marty's relationship with Doc Brown, or like Short Round in the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, or like Hook, like you got middle-aged Robin Williams hanging out with all these young kids and stuff like that. And so like he's on this campaign to like try to expose Steven Spielberg for being this pedophile.
What?
So what his deal is?
Do you have anything to add to that?
No.
I've seen multiple videos and I'm like, man, this guy is out there.
Right. A couple of those guys might have died.
I'm saying. It's a lot of shit, dude.
It's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent breed is people!
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at them regular casinos.
Royale, too.
Woman, get back in here and make me a sandwich.
Mulder, shut up.
Welcome back to Casino Royale with Cheese. This is episode number 22 of the show where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. My name is Shane. I am joined today by my colleague, the man who spends most of his time shouting into the heavens or to anybody that'll listen. This is Spooky Mike.
Spooky Mike.
Yeah, Spooky Mulder.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Before we get into this podcast, I would like to apologize to maybe some of our listeners who realized that I was a blabbering idiot on the last podcast. Preston and Shane have both been nice and said we didn't really notice anything, but I listened back and it was not proud of myself.
It's Back to the Future. There's a lot to talk about.
There was.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But yeah, no, it was a good time. I personally didn't think that, I mean, that's the whole point of this thing is people talking. So, I didn't really notice anything. But aside from that, how's it going?
Pretty awesome, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a long day yesterday.
Long day. We moved our brother-in-law and sister-in-law to their new home.
Yeah.
We did a lot of moving while he did a lot of talking.
Jared.
He talked to his neighbors for...
I think all of them.
Yeah. He talked to his neighbors longer than I've talked to my neighbor. I lived in my house now for 3 yeyears.
Yeah.
And he talked to his neighbors longer yesterday than I have in the whole of the 3 years that I've lived at where I live.
Yeah. It's funny when Mike mentioned that because there's a neighbor that I have across the street. And so they had a garage sale. I went across the street to go look at whatever they were selling, hoping for some old NES games or something. And they're like, oh, this is the guy that lives next door to you. I was like, oh, well, I never seen him or talked to him or anything,
And you've lived here over a year.
Right. Oh, well over, yeah. Closer to a year and a half,
yeah.
Jared knows everything about his, though. So.
Yeah. Best friends.
Yep. Anyway, we are back on the bandwagon today where we're discussing movies that were number one 20 years ago.
Exactly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you elaborate a little bit on what we're watching?
This week we are watching X-Files.
All right. Back in the day, I was a huge fan of the X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
How about yourself?
Not so much.
Not so much.
Here, I'll give you my history with X-Files.
All right.
David Duchovny's in it.
Mm-hmm.
there's my history of X-Files.
There you go. And you like Californication.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew about the show. I knew it was a huge hit when it was on television. I mean, I was aware.
Right.
It just wasn't something I was watching. So as far as the movie's concerned, I didn't know. I was like, I think that might be, like, I don't watch the show. You might have to kind of watch the show to understand what the movie is doing. And so I didn't go see it. I never saw it, actually. First time I watched it was finished about 5 minutes ago.
You started, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, have a little bit more sordid history with the X-Files. So I went to this summer camp back in the day. It was a church camp. And there's this buddy of mine, the dude that I told you about, we went and saw.
The double feature at the
Double
drive-in?
feature, yeah, all that crap. We went and watched, like, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, like 4 times at the theater. Like, just we're movie compadres, you know?
Right, that's what you guys did.
Yeah, that was our thing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he was telling me, because in this this student life camp is what the name of the church camp was called. They had this guy that was like a pastor there, and he was convinced that he was driving down the highway and he saw like one cow and one standing on top of the other. Like, what? Yeah, like one cow was standing on top of another cow. And so like he edited all this X-Files footage together where like Mulder and Scully were investigating like these aliens that were making cows like stand on top of each other. It was really weird, but it was pretty funny at the time, actually. And so anyway, my buddies... Go ahead.
The person who developed this video of the standing cows,
right?
Was it to mock the pastor?
No, the pastor put it together. It was like a joke, basically. Because it was like anytime he talked to us, he always brought up these stupid cows.
So the pastor thought he saw the cows stand on top of each other.
Yes.
And then decided to spoof himself.
Basically.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He had a good
sense of humor about it. Yeah. And so, anyway, a buddy, I was talking to my friend later because we went to the same. I went with him to the camp, and he's like, "Did you ever watch that show?" And of course, he turned it into like, "Dude, do you think Mulder's hot?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Oh, you're stupid," that sort of thing, because I didn't know who the characters were.
Oh,
yeah, and he actually, I thought he was talking about Scully,
of course,
but yeah, and so anyway, he was like, "Dude, it's actually a pretty good show," and so I started watching around season 3 of the show, and basically I continued watching, I want to say till like season 7 maybe, and then after a while it just got so convoluted that I was like, I don't have time to keep up with this.
How many seasons did it go for?
I want to say like 11 seasons.
Didn't it get like off and then it came back?
Yeah, it just recently came back.
Oh, it did come back.
Yeah, it had 11. Well, so it's currently on its 11th season. It started airing in January.
So it had 10 seasons, then went off the air for a few years.
So they brought it back briefly for like 6 episodes, like a little miniseries in 2016. So I guess it originally had a 9-season run, and then they're counting that 6-episode series as season 10, and now they've come out with the full season since then. So it's kind of cool to see the show make a comeback. Even then, it's only been 10 episodes long.
I've seen 0 episodes of X-Files, but I know that little whistly... Yeah, that thing.
Right.
I know that, like, I hear that and I think X-Files.
Right. Yeah, it's iconic. To me, that's one of, like, the themes in TV history is that. Like, you could pick it out pretty easily, you know.
That you can.
Yeah. That and, like, it's not as iconic as, like, Mission Impossible.
Right.
But it's pretty classic in its own right, you know, so. So no experience with the show,
nope.
Movie, none of that.
Nope.
I'm gonna go. I actually had to do a little bit of research because I looked up online kind of what led into the show. Chris Carter, the guy that created the show, he also wrote the movie. He said that he had a hell of a time going through and trying to write a movie that would continue the story of the X-Files, but it wouldn't like shit all over like future X-Files episodes, and like at the same time make a movie that people that just watch the show wouldn't miss anything major. And so he had all these little like caveats that he had to like meet in order to create a show or a movie, basically.
When he was writing a movie, do you think he was targeting like his built-in X-Files like fan club or fandom or whatever versus like, do you think he was trying to get new people to come watch X-Files?
I think that anytime a writer like branches off and does a movie, they're automatically trying to appeal to their audience, but they also want to bring in people too.
So you think he was doing both?
Yeah, I think so.
Because there's some things in the movie, and we'll get there when we get to those points. But if you don't know about the show, you're a little clueless on like what they're talking about or who someone is and stuff like that.
Well, even with me, because I think they did a good job considering the lore of the X-Files, writing something that was at least somewhat comprehensible to a layperson, that didn't have any knowledge of it going into it. But I will say, too, that I haven't watched the show. Like, I haven't gone back on Hulu and, like, rewatched all the seasons or anything like that. And so, I mean, to me, I'm sitting back going, even though I've seen it, still like, what the fuck? Like, at parts. So. And
so in the X-Files, the movie, where in the timeline of X-Files, the show, does the movie lay?
In between seasons 5 and 6.
So, like, last episode of season 5, then this thing happens with them in the movie, and then the first episode of season 6. Do they tie together in the TV shows as well?
The TV show does tie into the movie.
Okay.
So basically, that's one thing I looked up on Wikipedia, because what they had originally done was with season 5, they said that they had originally only intended to do 5 seasons, and then they got the call from Fox to do a movie, and they're like, cool, we're going to spawn this whole movie franchise now.
Right.
And so that never really played out. They wound up going back and making another, up to season 9, basically. And so the whole idea, though, is that I guess there was, in season 5, the way that season ended, there was a kid that they thought had like some sort of precognitive abilities, like he could see into the future, and everybody thought that because he was actually about to get sniped by this guy that was a sniper, and so the kid wound up like dodging the shot like just the last second or whatever. Everybody thought he just got lucky, and Mulder was like, he turned around and looked at that sniper, and so Mulder's convinced that this kid can like see into the future or see like certain events that are coming up or whatever. And Mulder becomes convinced later on that this kid might be like the key to everything that they've been looking into in the X-Files. But the kid winds up getting kidnapped, and the Justice Department, like the old guys that are in this movie, they wind up kidnapping him. The Justice Department winds up going through and shutting down the X-Files, and then the cigarette smoking man like grabs his sister's file and then like torches the office, and that's the way that the season ended, basically.
Season 5.
Yes.
And so like at the end of season 5, they closed the X-Files.
Yes.
Okay.
And the office is gone. All their work they've been researching and all that other stuff doesn't exist anymore. Basically, these guys are just blank slate FBI agents now. So,
not a good way to end the show.
No, that's really not.
Like everything you've just invested your time into for the last 5 seasons, it's gone.
Yeah, it's done. Right. So anybody that isn't familiar, the whole idea of the X-Files, it started according to the world of the X-Files. That whole department started in the 50s. And the idea of it is that there was this woman that was like a filing clerk, basically, in the FBI, and she kept taking all these supernatural case files and putting them under miscellaneous. And finally, the most miscellaneous file was just gigantic. And somebody went through and asked her, like, what is all this shit in here? Mm-hmm. And so she went through instead. She noticed that under X, there were like no files because nothing starts with X, basically, unless you're studying an xylophone, or something. And so she started putting all the files under X, basically, and that's where they got the name X-Files. The whole idea is that Fox Mulder he's the FBI agent that's basically been in the X-Files for a while. He studies paranormal, supernatural stuff, basically. His dad was in the FBI, and he had a sister that apparently was abducted by aliens whenever he was a kid, that he never saw her again. He has flashbacks, but that's one of like his motivations, basically, is to try to find out whatever he can about her disappearance. They send in a doctor named Dana Scully to basically debunk his work, because he's getting really close to like these government cover-ups and stuff like that, and they basically just want to trash his reputation so that nobody will believe him at all. And so they send her in. Basically, he winds up having to drag her along, kicking and screaming anytime thinks he's onto something, but finally she starts to come around, and so then that basically is where the movie leads us. There is kind of an ongoing thing about this alien invasion that they allude to, but it's not like every episode. They'll have, a good half a dozen episodes or so where it's just about little offshoot stories, and then you'll see one that has to do with like the overarching plot, So.
Yeah, and so I can see where in this movie where the writer really was trying to inform an audience that isn't familiar with the show, because a lot of the stuff you just said, they say it real quick.
Yeah.
But like you kind of understand like
real quick exposition.
Yeah,
and then,
like that's why they are together.
Right.
Yeah, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to do the numbers?
Sure.
On this? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Let us go through here and see. This movie was made on a budget of 66 million United States dollars.
Okay.
Yep. Any guesses as to how well it fared? How many weeks it did?
Weeks at number one?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I hate to say this, but I don't remember this being like a big summer hit. Not that
maybe
much.
most X-Files fans, but that's probably about it.
Yeah. 3 weeks?
No, it was only 1 week.
Oh,
sadly.
really?
Yeah.
No, that's kind of what my gut was telling me, but I was like, maybe it was a bigger deal.
Right. Maybe I just wasn't paying. You didn't care for the X-Files.
Right.
So, yeah.
So 1 week. Okay.
Any guesses as to its total United States box office draw?
70 million.
You're pretty close. It was 83,898,000, so almost 84 million. Worldwide, it brought in 189,176,000.
Yeah, in my head, my memory tells me it was a flop.
Yeah, I mean,
like it didn't perform the way they thought it was going to perform.
Right, and you can tell that because they would have obviously continued on with the movies if it had done Titanic money or something. Right. We're gonna keep milking this thing as long as we can, but never really happened. It didn't. I don't think it lost money, but I don't. You have to keep in mind like the law of diminishing returns whenever you do. Not as many people usually show up for the sequel, that sort of thing.
Right.
So it stars David Duchovny,
yep.
as you previously mentioned. If you don't know who David Duchovny is, you're an idiot.
Well, if you're a movie fan and you don't know who he is, or a television fan, you don't know who he is, that's weird.
Yeah, we were watching Beethoven with the kid the other day, the dog movie.
Yeah.
And he's in that thing.
Is he?
Yeah. Gillian Anderson, she's been in a bunch of stuff. I gotta say, too, so look at this picture of her right there.
Yeah.
She's gotta be getting up there in age, but she's still pretty banging, dude.
Yeah, she's pretty.
Yeah.
What's funny, in my head, Scully was played by Julianne Moore.
I can see that little redhead thing going on.
But it's not her at all.
No, not even close. Not even close.
I don't know why I thought it was Julianne Moore.
Not a bunch of big names in this. We got John Neville, the well-manicured man, as they call him. He's the British dude in the movie. William B. Davis, the cigarette-smoking man. Or Old Smokey, or the Cancer Man, as he's known as the show. Martin Landau, he was a character that did not show up in the show ever. Dr. Alvin Kurzweil. Jeffrey DeMunn as that dude Braunschweig at the beginning. He's the one with that alien. Yeah, he got stuck in a cave. Yeah. He showed up on The Walking Dead, actually. So he was the dude that owned that camper. They were riding around like the first 2 seasons or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Terry O'Quinn plays Special Agent Darius Michaud. He was John Locke on Lost, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I knew I recognized him from something.
Yeah. He didn't have the mustache there. But
no.
Yeah. Kid Lucas Black, actually, is the little kid at the beginning of the movie that finds the skull.
Yeah.
He was... I like Lucas Black because he was in... more recently, like the Fast and Furious stuff. He was in like Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, that's who I thought that was.
Yeah.
Even as a little kid, his voice is the same as it is today.
Right. Another thing you probably recognize him from was Sling Blade. He's a little kid on there too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I like the way you talk too. All that crap, yeah. Directed by Rob Bowman. This really was probably one of the bigger things he ever did. I mean, he's done a bunch of TV, directed like 34 episodes of The X-Files. He's done a bunch of stuff since then. But he did this. He did the movie Elektra with Jennifer Garner. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Reign of Fire with Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey, which I'm not a fan of personally.
I don't remember that movie.
Yeah, it's like in the future and dragons are like attacking the earth and stuff. It's really weird.
I think I actually seen that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shows how much you liked it. You
Yeah.
don't even remember it. What else was I going to mention? Oh, there's actually a special appearance by, those 3 dorky guys that were at the hospital with Mulder. Yeah.
So like the lab technicians or something?
Well, so their deal is that they actually are a group of computer hackers. And they wound up making... They showed up every so often in the show. There's John Byers, Melvin Frohike, and Richard Langley are the guys' names. But basically, they're called the lone gunmen. And what they would do is they were hackers that would like hack into a system. They're given their own spin-off show at one point called The Lone Gunmen. And they would like hack into something, find out some information about it, go and investigate it. But it was short-lived, didn't last very long. But they make an appearance here too. So, anything before we tear into this thing?
No, man. Let's get started.
All right. Start us out, will you?
There's some black wobbly fluid on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the X-Files logo.
Yeah. An X-Files logo. It's not the logo.
Oh, it's not the logo?
No.
Oh.
Just for the movie.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Then we're in North Texas at 35,000 BC.
Yeah.
We see a couple of fur-wearing individuals tracking down something that looks like dinosaur tracks or, I don't know.
Some kind of creature.
Something with 3 toes.
Right.
And they get to an ice cave.
Mm-hmm. They do. They go in. I thought it was cool. They had discovered fire already, so that's kind of neat because you see them light up the thing with the little flint.
The flint rock, yeah.
Yeah. But they go into the cave. They, I forget what the circumstances are, but they wind up finding this thing, this creature, and it just terrasses one of them. He's done.
Well, the first so these guys are like Neanderthal men,
right?
And the first one finds something. Like in ice or something, and then sneak attack, the alien attacks him.
Right.
Fucks him up.
The other one gets the jump on the creature.
Right.
And winds up stabbing it. The creature takes off real quick, and so he follows it further down the cave or whatever, and he looks and he sees it, and it's like in a little fetal position or whatever by itself. He winds up going, raising his hand. He has some kind of thing he's going to use to stab it. It looks like bone or something.
Yeah.
And the thing attacks him real quick, and he winds up stabbing it a bunch of times and killing this thing. All of a sudden it starts bleeding out this black shit that we saw during the opening credits, basically. Yeah, and you can see a little stream of it flowing away from the creature, and then it starts to backtrack and go toward this guy that just killed it,
Right.
And you can see it starts pulling up around his feet and crawling up underneath his skin and stuff like that. Lets out a big roar, and we cut to present day 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1998, North Texas.
Right.
And the guy we talked about,
Lucas Black.
Yeah, Lucas Black. He comes crashing through a hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he's remarkably okay. His buddies are like, "Hey man, you all right?"
I got the wind knocked out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he walks away for a minute and comes back with the human skull.
Right.
And proclaims it's his.
Right. It's got a big old hole in the side of it. Yeah.
Right. Then we see that he's standing in a puddle of that same black shit. And we watch it we see a more detailed version of how it works.
Yeah.
And it gets up under his skin. You see it getting into his veins. And it slowly works its way up to his head where you see it get to his eyeballs and it turns his eyes black.
Yeah.
And his friends beat the fuck out of there.
Yeah, they do. I want to say this too. It's really funny because apparently my wife went and saw this with her mom at the theater back in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't. My wife, anybody that doesn't know her, is not into sci-fi, fantasy stuff. If it's a horror movie, she might like it. But if it's a supernatural horror with aliens and extraterrestrial stuff, that's not her thing at all. So she said that she was really freaked out at the time by the movie Scream that had come out just before within the last couple years of this.
Right.
And so she went to the theater and watched this, and this creature's attacking this caveman or whatever, and then this kid standing in the ground or whatever, and his eyes are turning black and shit. She's like, "I'm out. I'm done with this movie." It's really
she
funny.
left for real?
Yeah, they walked out of the theater. Her and her mom did.
Damn, the movie had been on for 4 minutes.
Yeah, just wasted your money.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
So the kids take off, and you assume they call 911 because the fire department shows up.
Yep.
they go down in the hole to get the kid. Then some helicopter shows up. Dudes in white suits get out.
Mm-hmm. They send down 2 firefighters first, try to recover the kid, and then they lose contact with him. So the chief sends 2 more guys down there to go find the 2 guys they lost and the kid. And then that's when the helicopters arrive, basically, yeah.
Helicopter arrives, 4 dudes in white suits carrying some type of person transportation device.
Capsule, something, yeah.
They come walking, they go straight into the hole. The fire chief, or the guy who's in charge of the fire department there, on the scene anyways, starts yelling out, like, I have 4 men in there. And
nobody cares.
No one even talks to him.
Yeah.
They go down there, and you see that they have the boy in their capsule. They come out, and he just keeps yelling, like, what about my men?
They don't care. Nobody acknowledges he exists at all.
Then all these big trucks show up with covered cargo.
Right.
And what's that dude's name?
Braunschweig.
Yeah, Braunschweig.
Very German-sounding name.
He makes a call to somebody, we don't know who.
Nope.
It says, you remember that plan that we don't have for something that's... What does it say?
The impossible scenario. Do you remember the impossible scenario we never planned for? Well, we better start coming up with a plan, is what he tells them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we cut to a week later in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty great. This is, to me, I think this movie does a good job of getting, like, the feel of the X-Files down, but it's all on, like, a grander scale because they have a movie budget here, you know. But this is a great little Mulder scene where they're messing around on top of this building in Dallas.
Yeah.
It's great. Apparently there's been a bomb that's been called a bomb threat that's been called into the federal building in Dallas.
Right.
Yeah, these basically they have these FBI agents swarming the building. We see for a moment, and we don't really get what the deal is, but Darius Michaud actually like hops out of this helicopter and he looks over across the street to this other building, and then he turns around and walks off.
Yeah, across the street, Scully's on the roof.
Right, and she's on the phone with Mulder.
Right.
She's like, "What the hell are we even doing? The building that we're supposed to be looking into is across the street."
Yeah, he goes, we're looking for a bomb.
He's like, I got a hunch, you know. That's basically all the explanation he offers.
Yep.
She said the whole idea of a bomb threat being called into a building is so that, you know, people will look in that building. You know, the whole idea of terrorism is to incite terror, you know. And so he winds up, he meets her face to face on top of the building.
They talk in really long sentences.
They do. And Mulder's notorious for that. Because sometimes, some sentences, he'll sound like a complete retard. And then other times, you're like, dude, this guy's smart, bro. You know?
Or he just uses a lot of big words.
Yeah, he does. He'll have this big, long sentence, and then he's like, Scully, what are we doing up here? It's hot as hell. You know? Yeah, that sort of thing. He's notorious for that. She basically is trying to tell him, look, we got protocols that we need to follow.
They've closed the X-Files.
They just stated outright
right
in the movie.
So that's when I was like, oh, season 5 must have ended with them closing the X-Files.
Right, yes.
So, they closed the X-Files. We actually have to follow the rules now.
Right. No more Wild West. You know, we got rules to follow. And so he has a great line, you know, maybe I should call in a bomb threat to the Astrodome. I heard it's free beer night. I'll tell you what, dude. If it's free beer night anywhere, I'm going to be there. If I can go watch a baseball game and drink beer for free, it's on, dude. I don't care how much the tickets are.
It's not a good time.
You don't think so?
No, this is actually... I listened to another podcast called The Dollop.
Yep.
It's got Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds are the hosts, and they talk about U.S. history.
Okay.
Events in U.S. history.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's big things like we kind of know some stuff about, and other times it's really minuscule, just little blips on the map of our history.
I got you.
But they do a really good job of telling a pretty interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had penny beer nights.
Oh, really?
And it turned into like full-on riots.
Just a riot.
Yeah, like drunks running out on the field. They were tearing the bleacher chairs out and throwing them on the field.
Of course, trying to leave is impossible, you know.
Yeah, so it doesn't work out.
No, it sounds good on paper, but no.
And in their podcast, they actually tell a story about, I think it was in the 70s. I could be wrong, but I think it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
They tell the story about how the White Sox, I think it was the Chicago White Sox, did the penny beer night, and it was a pure disaster.
Just mass chaos.
Yeah.
It turns into like a a friggin' thing, you know, like a national disaster.
Because people aren't there for the game.
No, they're not. They don't care about what's going on.
Yeah, they're just drinking.
Just gonna bring, you know, $1 will buy me 100 beers.
And they can only buy like 10 at a time.
Oh, really?
Like that's a limit.
You know me, I'd be ordering 10 beers.
Yeah, a dime.
And then getting, a half hour later getting 10 more, you know.
Yeah, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So, they decide to go back in the building.
Oh, she winds up faking him out.
What's that all about? Is that a thing that they do a lot?
Not really.
Oh.
No. She acts like the door's locked on top of the roof, and of course it's really hot up there, so he's like, what the hell, you know? And so he freaks out for a second, opens the door, she's like, I got you. And so she's like, you owe me a pop. And so he goes down a little pop machine, and sure enough, he sees his janitor leaving, really suspect looking fellow. And so he goes in there, puts in his change, whatever, and nothing comes out. But the light's lit up on the machine. Thinks it's kind of weird. And so he looks back behind, it's not plugged in at all. And so anyway, next thing you know, he tries to open the door to get back out. Door's locked. He's stuck. And then in between scenes, he basically opens up the pop machine because in the meantime, he's calling Scully on the phone. And he's like, hey, I think we found our bomb. He said it's down here in the pop machine. She thinks he's full of shit, of course, initially. Because Mulder does mess around a lot on the show. He's a kind of a prankster. But anyway, as it turns out, it's got a timer on it. And how much
14
time?
minutes.
14 minutes, that's what it was.
14 minutes left, and he tells Scully, you need to get someone here to open this door.
Evacuate the building.
Evacuate the building.
Mm-hmm.
So she tells the security guards, you got 10 minutes to get everybody out of here.
Right.
Pretty good, quick thinking by her.
Yeah.
Can't give them 14 minutes because they'll be late.
Right, yeah. You'll still have people streaming out.
Yeah, so we cut to 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, and we get the ring scare.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Scully calls Mueller, and it makes him jump.
Right. He's sitting there just staring at these chemicals that are in this vat in this machine, and then the phone rings, and he just kind of jerks. Like,
yeah.
What the hell?
And then the... what's his name? The FBI
Special Agent Darius Michaud.
Okay, so Michaud is there with Scully now, and he's got the torch and the goggles, and he does the cutting.
Little laser cut the door.
Which is weird. He's the boss.
Yeah.
And he cuts the door. Doesn't happen.
It's true.
That's where you get like the lowest ranking dude in there.
Right.
And he's the guy who cuts the door, and the boss walks in after the door's cut down.
Right.
Comes over to the soda machine. He tells Mulder, yeah, you're right, it's a bomb. It's exactly what you think it is.
Scully says, can you defuse it?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. And Mulder's like, well, you better hurry. You know, we only got a little bit of time. He's like, no, you need to get the hell out of here, basically. Yeah.
You have to go. Which is weird, again, that the boss is the guy who's going to be doing the defusing.
Yeah, can you defuse this? He's not, like, EOD or anything.
Right.
Whatever.
Okay. So, Mulder hesitates, but does go.
Right. But as he's leaving...
He wants to go back in.
Yeah. And she's like, dude, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Why the hell would he think it was a good idea to go back in?
I wouldn't go back in.
Literally, like, when the guy showed up and cut you out, it was at 4:50.
Right. By the time you set foot in that room, that bomb's gonna be done,
Right. So, I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
We cut back to Michaud.
Yeah, it's
he's like
40
sitting on his
left.
briefcase doing shit.
Just staring at the bomb.
Yeah.
And I thought at that point, he's getting ready to, he's really just looking over the bomb, being super careful
doing some ninja shit real quick.
No, yeah, well, he was going to just figure out where the spot was he needed to
pull
go.
that one wire, he's done.
Yeah, with 1 second remaining.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just puts his head in his hands and kisses his ass goodbye.
Whole thing goes toes up pretty quick.
The building explodes, and we see that Mulder and Scully, literally, he just started moving in the car.
Right.
So the explosion kind of pushes them.
Right, knocks him into old Camaro, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they get all the windows blown out and everything, but Scully and Mulder are just fine.
They're fine. Yep. Of course they are. They got to do next season. We find out that basically, I thought it was weird seeing the building because you have to keep in mind the time frame. The Oklahoma City Murrah building bombing had been within probably 5 years of this. And so
3 years.
3 years, there you go.
The Murrah building was blown up in 95.
95, there you go. And so looking at it, even in the theater, in my 11-year-old or 14-year-old self, I was like, damn, that looks just like Oklahoma City. Like, just the pictures I had seen, like news reports where like half the building was blown, to pieces. I thought it looked identical to it. But
it was really similar.
Yeah.
And I would have to imagine that the pictures of the explosion in Oklahoma City is where the artists got their idea of what this building would look like.
Yeah. A little inspiration there.
Yeah, the difference being in why the pictures are so dramatic in the Oklahoma City bombing. I mean, it's a terrible thing, obviously.
Right.
But where he parked the truck, it blew like a U shape into the building.
I see.
And in this image, it's just like the corner of the building.
Right.
But
that makes sense.
Still looked very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole fact that the bomb threat was called into the federal building.
Right.
I was kind of the whole time we were watching, I was like, this is weird.
A lot of similarities. Yeah. We go to where there's a hearing in Washington D.C. and that's at FBI headquarters.
Yeah, in the office of the Attorney General.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're basically reading Scully the Riot Act. And Mulder's late to the meeting, and she's like, well, we're holding you guys responsible for the deaths of 5 people, including Special Agent Darius Michaud.
3 firemen.
Yeah.
And a small kid.
And a kid, yeah.
And right there, my ears started ringing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cover up.
That's what happened at the thing, yeah.
Yeah, we got to cover up here.
That was in Texas. Wait a minute. Yeah. So Mulder is noticeably distraught. He's like, wait, we told him to evacuate. They said the building was clear. And she's like, why don't you, if you're going to be late, go piss off and we'll talk to you in a second, basically is what this FBI director says to Mulder. He goes, sits in the hall. His boss, Agent Skinner, comes out and talks to him. Mitch Pileggi is his name in real life.
So Agent Skinner's the homie, though, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he takes care of Mulder.
He does. So he can be a dickhead when he has to be, but more often than not, he would go to bat for him. If there was somebody trying to pull something over on Mulder, some bullshit was going to come down, he would be like, no, we're not doing that.
Well, most of the time, like, the boss in the movies is a dick.
A dickhead, yeah.
But I got the feeling from this that he gives a shit about Mulder.
Right. Mulder kind of trusts him. He confides in him and stuff, He doesn't tell him everything, but he can at least talk to him about, what's going on and shit like that.
Scully comes out of her deposition.
Right.
And basically tells Mulder that she's going to quit.
Right. Apparently she's been reassigned, and then she's like, I'm pretty much done with this, at this point. I said, you can't quit. She's like, maybe you should...
think about it, too.
She's like, because all we were doing is getting cock-blocked, And so he winds up going to have a drink that night.
Yeah, he goes to the bartender, or he's sitting at the bar, and he tells the bartender everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he like sums up his whole life in like a 2 or 3 like long sentences.
Right.
And she was like, you're fucking cut off, bro.
Right.
Because he's talking about like extraterrestrials and
how the government's covering it all up.
And when it comes, it's going to be a shitstorm.
Right.
My sister was taken.
They got nicknames for him and stuff because nobody believes it.
Yeah, they call me Spooky.
Right, yeah.
Which is how I got the nickname Spooky.
Spooky Mike.
At the beginning of this episode.
Oh, I did want to say, they said in the deposition or whatever that it was like $45 million worth of damage. I'm sitting there listening to that going, that's not that bad.
Well, you would think it'd be a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, But anyway, so he's getting drunk. After his little speech to the bartender, she says, well, look, that's it, and she cuts him off. She says, 86 must be your lucky number. I don't know what she means by that.
When you get an 86th.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Because at first, when I watched this as a kid, I was like, damn, that dude just killed 86 shots? Man, he's doing really well, like, keeping it together for being,
No, you're done.
Yeah. And then I was like, maybe he rang up $86 when I watched it the other day. I was like, no, she probably just means she's 86 in his ass,
So he goes out, he needs to take a piss.
Yeah.
The dude's is out of order.
Right.
The female is occupied.
There's a woman in there, yeah.
Yeah, so he decides to hit the exit and piss in the alley. Right in front of it. Like, he's pissing on an Independence Day poster.
It's pretty funny. I don't know what the joke is, but maybe it's just because it's like an alien invasion, like, plots that have very different takes on them, I think.
That has to be what it's about.
Right. And Fox owns the rights to Independence Day, obviously.
Oh, maybe it's like a shout-out to it.
Almost. It could be, yeah.
Or foreshadowing.
Or, along with that, maybe the writers of this movie thought that Independence Day was crap, And so they're having Mulder like piss on the poster.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally
Right.
pissing on the poster. And some old creepy dude comes walking up to him in the alley.
Yeah, he saw him at the end of the bar earlier.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And so he's like, the guy starts talking to him, and he basically is like, what are you doing out here? And the guy like drops his fly and starts pissing in the alley too.
Which is very weird.
Yeah, I would not be comfortable with that.
No, I think this guy's here for different things.
I don't know, man. He introduces himself as Dr. Alvin Kurzweil, and he starts talking to Mulder. He says that he was friends with his dad back in the day. He says that he starts going through all this stuff. He's like a big-time conspiracy theorist.
He writes books on it.
Yeah. He says he's a gynecologist, obstetrician.
By trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says that basically he has some answers, and he wants to give Mulder some information that's going to help him figure out what's going on.
Yeah, he tells him that the bodies that were found...
Nobody ever checks if they were dead or alive.
They were already dead. Mm-hmm. They were being kept in a FEMA quarantine center.
Yeah, there was like a FEMA office in that building.
Right, but that nobody knew about.
Right.
And that's where they found those bodies.
Yeah.
You need to go to Dallas and check it out.
Mm-hmm. So he tells him, he tells him there was the military facility where they went to the morgue, and then they go to Dallas later on in the movie. But this is where they go to that one morgue where the general like isn't allowing people in or whatever. I don't think they go to Dallas yet.
Oh wait, did he tell him that there's a? No, they don't go to Dallas yet. Did he tell him that there was a body in the morgue?
No, he didn't. But Mulder knows where the bodies are being stored. Basically,
okay.
He wakes up Scully in the middle of the night. Basically, tells her to get dressed, and that he wants to go to this military facility where the bodies are being stored to go check them out. This guy might be onto something.
Well, he tells her to get dressed.
Right.
Then we cut to North Texas.
Yep, we do.
And this hole in the ground that we saw at the beginning of the movie is now like a full-on site.
Yeah, like some ET shit.
Yeah, there's pop-up tents and all kinds of stuff going on. And we see a black helicopter come in, and some dude gets out and lights up a cigarette.
Cigarette smoking man.
So this is where I realized watching the movie that like if you don't follow the shows, you're gonna be kind of lost on some things.
You're missing
so like
shit, yeah.
I audibly asked Shane during watching the film. I don't ever talk to Shane when we're watching the movies. I want to save everything for the podcast. I was like, what the fuck's that dude's name? Because he didn't say anything or do anything. He just lit a cigarette. And
right.
He's like, they call him the cigarette smoking man. I'm like, oh, real fucking original name.
Right. It's kind of what Mulder called him, but yeah, they end up calling him in the show not just cigarette smoking man, but they do call him Old Smoky and Cancer Man as well. But yeah, he's pretty noticeable, pretty prevalent in the show. It's funny because apparently the actor in real life doesn't smoke. So,
oh god!
I guess what he had was like these herbal cigarettes that he would have him bring in that he would like smoke or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he shows up and
that scientist Braunschwein or Burger King, whatever his fucking name is. What is this guy?
He starts talking about the firemen.
Yeah, they've kept one fireman. The rest of them went to that building in Dallas, but they're keeping one of them in this
in the
hole in the ground. Yeah. What they've done is they're talking about how they lowered the temperature down in this facility that's underground now that they basically built out of this cave. And they talk about how this guy is like transforming or whatever, and like basically the lower temperature is slowing down the process.
But we don't know until we get in the hole that this is actually an alien growing in the side of this dude.
Yeah, and he looks like crap.
Well, he's see-through.
Right, yeah, he's got translucent skin, like his bones are like deteriorated basically. They said he's alive, like biologically, but
he would never recover.
Gone, yeah.
Yeah, the alien is gestating inside of
it's like feeding off of his minerals and stuff.
Right.
And, yeah.
So they're growing inside using all of our stuff.
Right.
Just like if a chicken when it's being when it's developing, it's using the chicken white around it is how it builds nutrition and grows and everything.
Right.
And so that's what the alien's doing with this guy. We're just the shell of the egg.
Right. Yeah.
They decide that Do they talk about it yet? Oh yeah.
He says, "What is it?" He
says, "Do we
want to kill it or destroy it?" And he's like, "No, let's see."
You want to destroy it like the others?
Yeah. So are they gonna blow up another building for this guy? That's what I was wondering, because that's what they do with the others. But
he says no.
No, we're gonna try the antidote on it.
The vaccine.
Like, the vaccine. Yeah. He said, "What if it doesn't work?" He's like, "Then we'll just burn it."
Right.
Yeah. And so
they don't look shocked at all, by the way.
No. It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care. We cut to Bethesda Naval Hospital.
Yep.
And there's this guy. This is one part of the movie that does bother me.
The Marine?
Yeah. He's a dumbass. He's sitting there. These dudes show up with the FBI. They show him their credentials and everything.
No, wait. It's Scully and Mulder.
Yeah. It's right. Yeah.
It's just the two of them.
Right.
And they say, we're FBI. We need to go to the morgue.
Right.
And the fucking Marines like, fuck off.
Yeah. Apparently this General McCaddy, like, is not allowing people into the morgue unless they're on a list.
Right.
Yeah.
And Mulder's like, yeah, that's who sent us.
Right.
Call him.
He's like, I'm going to have to verify. And he's like, well, call him.
Oh, I don't have his number. We'll call the switchboard. They'll dial you in. Oh, you don't know the number of the switchboard?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm going to call my CO. And David Duchovny, or Mulder, was like, we don't have time for this shit.
Right. Your chain of command BS.
Yeah, this order came from the general, so your chain of command bullshit doesn't matter.
Right.
We're going in, and you can figure it out while we're in there.
Right.
Dude, that Marine should never let them by.
Absolutely not. They start walking down that hallway, and I would be all over their ass.
Then he acts like it was his idea.
Right, yeah.
The Marine's like, why don't you guys go ahead and go? And
go down there, and I'll call him.
Yeah.
It was dumb, and I know that with me, and I've never been, like, in a situation where... like in the military, at least the Army, they have what they call CQ duty.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a similar thing where you're just kind of like guarding the headquarters of the battalion or whatnot. And there's no way I'm going to let somebody in there that I don't know who they are, right. Whatever. And if they start calling BS and like, well, I'm going to head back that way and you can figure it out. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. But they do. They get back there. They get to the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
Scully reads the autopsy results and says that it was like blunt force trauma and
shrapnel and
explosions,
burning.
Shit.
Yeah.
So David Duchovny's like bullshit, or I keep calling him by his real name. Mulder's like bullshit, and he reaches back and pulls over the curtains, and you see this like liquefied thing.
That's the thing we saw in Texas, where
and
this
his
guy's
skin
just
is like jelly.
Fucked up. Yeah, it's slimy looking, like stuff sticking to his fingers and
she's
shit.
Pushing on him, and like his body cavity is just like sinking.
Yeah.
She can clearly see there's no Y incision or anything like that.
Right.
So she was like, okay.
Nobody's done an autopsy. They falsified these reports.
Yeah, this paper's complete bullshit.
Right.
So he leaves her there to conduct. Well, they take the body to another room, and he leaves her there to conduct an autopsy.
He goes back to find Dr. Kurzweil in his apartment. It's a really funny scene because apparently the local police are there, and they're talking about how they basically are trying to bust Dr. Kurzweil on like this kiddie porn thing going. Like apparently he's got these nudie pictures of kids that he's transmitting over the internet and all this other stuff, and they're like, so what are you doing here? And he's like, I have a pelvic exam scheduled, like. And they just look at him. He's like, he gives them a little look, and they're like, they just start laughing and stuff, and then they leave. And it turns out Kurzweil's in the alley.
Well,
go ahead.
Just real quick, they snuck into this morgue in Bethesda Naval Hospital.
Yeah.
He knows they're not supposed to be there.
Right.
Why the fuck did he leave Scully there by herself?
By herself.
To conduct an autopsy. Shouldn't you be like standing around like as a lookout?
Right.
Like, here they come, let's go.
Right.
No.
Let's hide. Yeah.
Like, good luck.
Right. I'm gonna go find this dude. Yeah.
Pretty fucked up.
I wouldn't have left you there.
I wouldn't have let you left me.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? You're
Get
like,
your ass back here.
Going, dude?
Right? I know that. I mean, obviously, Agent Scully is pretty competent, but yeah, I still wouldn't have been cool with that.
Oh, she's super competent.
Yeah.
But I'm sticking around like as your
two heads are better than one, basically.
Well, I'm just gonna keep a lookout.
Right. Don't go.
Yeah. So anyway, he finds Kurzweil in the alley.
Yeah.
Kurzweil's like, it's a setup.
Yeah. He's like, what is it, kiddie porn again? Yeah.
And he's like, I know too much.
Right. They know I'm talking to you.
Yep.
And so he talks about how there is this hantavirus outbreak in West Texas.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, he says that FEMA was in charge of the whole thing, of containing the outbreak or whatever. But he's like, so are you saying that there was no outbreak? And he's like, no, it wasn't the hantavirus. And so basically he talks about how the government has this disease, this alien disease, and they're wanting to basically unleash it during a holiday weekend or something like that, where people are away from their homes, and then the FEMA can declare a national state of emergency. And he recommends that Mulder goes to Texas.
Yeah, he says that FEMA has this overreaching authority that can just shut down everything.
Yeah, it basically renders the Constitution worthless. Basically.
And what makes it really funny is because we didn't know how incompetent FEMA was until Hurricane Katrina.
Until New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, so there's no way they'd be able to pull off this big giant conspiracy that he thinks.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I was thinking about this. I'm a big purporter of Penn Jillette, as you probably well know.
Yeah.
I talk about him all the time. Not just his magic stuff, which him and Teller are fantastic at, but even though I don't agree with the guy on everything that he talks about, I still find his point of view really interesting, and I find it kind of refreshing to go through and listen to the stuff that he has to say. Just maybe I can see something from a different angle,
Right.
And so he says that it's really great to sit back and think of all these conspiracies that are just awesome and stuff like that. He says, but at the end of the day, what finally convinced him that these conspiracies are BS is, Nixon tried to delete and cover up the fact that he had deleted 18 and a half minutes of an audio recording, and everybody knew about it. Was his take on it. And, I've seen the government, fuck up a census before, Well, they're pretty incompetent. The government doesn't tell you everything, but I think that if these huge, grandiose conspiracies really existed, then it would be a disaster.
People talk. Mm-hmm. People love to talk. Mm-hmm. People love to tell someone else something they didn't know to make them feel better. Guess what I know?
Yeah.
And, maybe it's some dude trying to hook up with some hottie.
Right.
And he's trying to just show his swag about how powerful he is.
This alien virus.
Yeah. I got this. I can protect you. And then she tells her girlfriend.
Yeah. It's a panty dropper.
Yeah. Shit gets out. Mm-hmm. All right. So those giant conspiracies to me, it just, you mean that many of hundreds or thousands of people were all able to keep their shit together, keep their mouth shut? No thanks. Not buying it.
I'm not buying it. Like I said, the government does not tell everybody everything. We have proof of that. But
and big corporation definitely drives politics.
Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely some bad things going on.
Right.
But these giant government cover-ups,
these covert deals with, the Illuminati and shit. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
So Scully.
They're going to Texas.
Oh no, but Scully's still in the morgue.
Yeah.
And security comes looking for her. And she hides in the cooler,
in the freezer,
that they keep the bodies in.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't get found.
No,
she's fine. But fucking Mulder does call her on her phone, while security's looking for her.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm going to Texas. I'm gonna buy you a ticket." She's like, "I can't go. I have a deposition back, and I gotta be here tomorrow or the day after tomorrow." And she hangs up the phone. And she hides. She gets away.
To piggyback what you just said, Mike just said butt fucking. So. Oh, Lordy.
All right.
Missed the point completely. But no, she's going to Texas. Yeah, she doesn't get found. It's ridiculous that they don't find her. But
to complete ridiculous. But there shows that dude pulling security is pretty incompetent.
Sucks, yeah.
So Mulder's in Texas. He is at the FBI field office in Dallas.
Yeah.
And he's talking to the guy, and the guy's like, I found some bone fragments.
Mm-hmm.
They don't appear to be connected to this, though.
Right.
So I think they were in the same FEMA office that these bodies were in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scully walks
Scully
up.
shows up.
Yeah.
Mulder's surprised, noticeably, because he didn't think that she was going to go. But she says that after till she was in that freezer till about 6:30 or whatever in the morning, she realized that it was kind of a big deal. And so she went to join Mulder. She takes a look in the microscope at these bone fragments and realizes that whatever that virus was that she found on those bodies.
She said it had a protein profile she's never seen.
Yeah,
before.
the protein coating or whatever.
Right.
that basically it was on those bone fragments too that they found in the hole. And so
we're in North Texas.
Yeah, they go to the site. But before that, they this Braunschweiger, whatever his name is.
He's going to go administer the vaccine.
Yeah, he is. He goes downstairs. This thing's gestated.
It's hatched.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
Yeah, you just see this jelly body with this chest split wide open.
Right.
And you know that alien's out there.
Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of looking around for a little bit. He's like, oh, I think I see it. And the guys up top are like, yo, you good? You know, whatever.
Well, he told them up there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it got out.
Right.
And then he sees it out of the corner of his eye.
Right. He's like, oh, I think I see it. I'm going to try to poke it with this thing. And
fucking stupid.
Nope, I'm out.
He's like
lock the door.
He's like staring at this creature.
Right.
That's bigger than him.
Yeah.
Way scarier looking than him. And his reaction is to pull out a needle and preload the vaccine.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna get this.
Like
thing.
he's the crocodile hunter or something. Yeah.
So the fucking alien sees that needle and goes ape shit.
Right.
Starts slashing at this dude.
Dead as shit.
Well, he gets up and he's like, I need help. I need help. And he's like, and everybody just like looks down the hole.
Nope.
Like, fuck off. We're selling this.
Close
bitch
the hatch.
up.
Yep.
That's fucked up, man.
That's what I would have done. He's infected.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh god, could you imagine? Like, oh no.
Right.
They're closing me in here.
Oh yeah. And then you can actually see where they start taking shovels full of dirt and like throwing it on the hatch.
Like right away.
Yeah.
I gotta admire their training.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people didn't hesitate.
Nope.
Like seal it up, cover it up.
Ain't messing with it. Yeah. So it's not too long after that
we're in Somerset.
Yeah, Somerset, England. I said an old guy meeting, basically.
Yeah, there's a phone call.
Yeah.
And cigarette smokers on the phone.
He's contacting the quote-unquote well-manicured man.
Is he a reoccurring character as well?
He showed up in season 3, and then obviously didn't show up after the movie. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so he said the Strongbow?
Strongbow?
There's a character named, like, who's that head guy?
The guy that got attacked?
No. We'll get there.
Okay,
so he asked if someone was coming, and the cigarette dude was like, yeah, he'll be there. So they go.
Yeah, they got an old guy meeting.
Yeah, so they go to London, and that's why he keeps saying old guy meeting, because it's literally a room full of old men.
Right. That Mulder basically lovingly ended up calling him the Syndicate. But
because the Illuminati was already taken.
Right, basically. Which the Syndicate is also like this terrorist organization in Mission Impossible, like the show.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And the most recent movie. But yeah, they basically talk a little bit about how there's this outbreak that's basically taking place in Texas. This is kind of where I get a little bit confused about everything. So they said that they know about the virus, but the virus basically is mutated. It's not doing what they were originally thinking it was going to do. They thought that initially it was going to turn people into like these mindless automatons, basically, but they didn't anticipate it like causing aliens to like gestate out of people and killing people and whatnot.
From what I got from this scene is they work with the aliens.
Yeah, they do.
They have a partnership.
Mm-hmm. And so they're still confused about like what they're gonna do because the virus is not the virus that they were told about, but they're like
the aliens tricked them.
Yeah, they're like, well, I mean, basically they talk about they still have to like buy their time basically though, and so they're gonna keep going along with the aliens while they try to fix up this the antidote or whatever. The vaccine. Yeah.
But the way they that's how they introduce the audience that these guys are working with aliens.
Yeah.
Like they just nonchalantly be like, yeah, it's not doing what we thought it was gonna do.
Right.
When we first started working with them, they talk about Mulder and Kurzweil and how they both need to be killed.
Right. And then they're like, well, if we kill Mulder, we're basically going to turn him into a martyr.
Right.
And put more people like toward his cause, people that do believe him.
So like, okay, well at least kill Kurzweil.
Right. So my thing is this. So they paint the picture of these old guys being like horrible people. And they actually go through later on, and we can maybe go into a little bit more then, but Mulder finds out what their role in this whole thing is and what these old fuckers are trying to do. But they still paint them to be like bad guys. But I don't think they are, though. They're trying to come up with a vaccine, you know? And
yeah, but they're keeping it secret.
Well, yeah.
They're
You don't want
keeping
mass
it
panic, you know?
Yeah, but wouldn't you at least, like, inform the government or something? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, maybe we can just kill these dudes?
I think it's weird that they never, like, did the aliens call them? Yo, we're going to do this virus thing. You guys cool? And they're like, well, we'll help you out.
Let's work together.
Right, yeah. I don't know. They never go into it, really.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
And it's been so long since I watched the show, I couldn't tell you if they ever elaborate.
And how did those group of random dudes get picked?
I have no idea.
Because we don't know how they're connected or why they were
They just look like they have a lot of money.
That's what it looks like, a bunch of rich guys.
Yeah, like the rich people should know everything, and then us peasants, like, you know, should get on down the road.
I don't know.
Keep working 9 to 5, peasant. You know, let them eat cake, sort of thing.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
But Mulder and Scully go to the site in North Texas.
Yeah, the cave site thing.
And it's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
And in its place is a brand new playground.
Playground, green grass. And the kids got new bikes and like all this stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because the kids ride up, like, you know, they're hypothesizing that this looks like a brand new thing.
Right.
Doesn't this grass look really green?
The playground equipment has no wear and tear on it at all.
Yeah. Scully's like, the grass is abnormally green for this environment.
For this climate.
Yeah, and so, like, they can tell pretty much that it was just put up.
Right.
And then it's hilarious to me, though, is the government or whoever these people are that did it would think, we'll just put a playground there.
Yeah.
No
have kids playing where this guy just got killed by an alien.
Yeah. No one will ever ask any questions.
Right.
Like the townspeople that you want to use this playground, they kind of know what's going on. Like,
Something's up.
Yeah, they don't know everything, but they do.
Right.
One of the kids in the town, eyes turn black, and he's gone.
Right. And then my neighbor, her husband was a firefighter. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh, he died in Dallas? What the fuck?
I didn't know he was going to Dallas that day.
Right. A week later. Haven't heard from him in a week. Pops up in Dallas, gets blown up.
Yeah. And his two best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny that they think that would work, but the kids come rolling up on their bicycles. Scully and Mulder are like, hey, what happened? They're like, we're not supposed to talk about it. And he's like, oh, is that why you guys got new bikes too? And she was like, we're in the FBI. And this boy punks him.
Yeah.
Like, you're not in the FBI.
Right,
like,
door-to-door salesman.
Stole my punchline.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so he punks him down real quick, but then he shows them the badge, and the kids are like, they went that way.
Right. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Those kids told them, we're not supposed to talk about it. Mm-hmm. As soon as they saw the FBI badge, they're like, go that way.
Right.
And that's when I was like, yes, can keep their mouth shut. So conspiracies can't be real.
It would be done. Yeah. This thing, it would be a conspiracy for less than 10 minutes.
So can I take this opportunity to go into this week's fast forward here?
Yes. Go right ahead.
All right. So the kids pointed in the direction that the unmarked trucks left. Mm-hmm. Scully and Mulder decide to go that way.
Right.
And they drive for, we don't know how long, but it's getting dark.
Right.
They come to a T in the intersection. Left or right, left or right. They have a quick debate about it. Fuck it, we're going straight. He punches it down the north dirt path. Why that was not an option when they were discussing left and right, I don't know. But they take it down the dirt path. The dirt path comes to a dead end next to some like barbed wire fencing. Scully gets out and she's pissed. Talk about how she needs to be back in DC in 11 hours and like this is going nowhere. Just then, the truck or a train with the
tankers.
Yeah, the tankers are looking for are on the back of it. Go by.
The kids told them that they're looking for like tankers.
Oh, white tankers.
Yeah, white tankers.
So they go ahead and they decide to chase that train down. They follow that train all the way to a site that is surrounded by cornfields and it's got these two giant white domes on it. They go through the cornfield to the white domes. They make a joke about how they might be giant Jiffy Pop poppers. They get inside. When they get to the domes, they can just open the door and walk right in. No security, no locks.
They see nobody out there.
Yeah, they just walk right in. They hear a strange humming. They do some investigating, thinking maybe it's electricity, maybe it's vents. Scully says we're in a ventilation system of some kind. Then the roof opens up. Mulder says run. Then millions of bees swarm this building. They run out of there. And that's it. They didn't get stung or nothing. Then black choppers show up. So they run into the cornfields. And all they're doing is run around in circles and fucking yelling each other's names at each other. Scully, Mulder, can you hear me? I can hear you. Where you at? Hey, over here. And this helicopters are just circling around all over. They get out of the corner, helicopters go away. We're back together. What the fuck was that scene about? They chase the train down to a site full of bees. Helicopters come, chase them around for a while, and then just fuck off. What was the scene about?
They discovered, so the idea is that these people are, they're trying to find a way to disperse this virus. And so what they've done is they've infected these bees with the virus, basically, so that they'll just fly around.
I know what happened in the movie.
Yeah.
But in the scene.
Oh, yeah. No, the helicopters, I don't know why the helicopters FO'd. It's kind of weird.
And after that happens, they just go back to DC.
Yeah, no, they're good. Nobody asked questions. Mum's the word, dude.
It seemed to make any sense to me.
No, it's kind of weird. I mean, it does make sense from the idea that they're bringing the virus in to this facility where the bees are at. It doesn't make any sense. There was nobody like armed guards or anything like that. Like, there's nobody out there. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. But I mean, it's just ultimately them investigating trying to figure out what's going on with this virus thing. You know,
it was weird.
It was kind of weird. Once they make it back to DC, Mulder meets up with Kurzweil at the bar again, and he starts getting pissed off at him. He's like, "Yo, I went down to Texas. I found what you were talking about." He says, and I need to figure out what the hell's going on. And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "You just been using me for information. You said that you knew what was going on. You're trying to pump me full of shit so you can write another book." And he's like, "Dude," he's like, I told you I had some answers. I didn't have every answer." Basically, Scully, in the meantime, has gone to an FBI hearing. And we see while she's discussing things with like the FBI director that there's a little bee on her collar. It's basically a carryover from when they went in that bee facility.
So she hasn't changed.
No, she still smells like Texas and cornfield and shit. Gross smelling, dude. I mean, she was running late, so whatever. But that's
I'll just tuck my shirt in. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's just that's the whole reason they had that scene.
So she can get the bee on her collar.
You had to get a bee there.
Right.
But so they don't need the crazy helicopters.
Helicopter chase. Like, nothing becomes of it, you know. If they had gone into this facility...
And Kurzweil even mentions it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why do you think you're still standing here?"
He's like, "They let you get away."
Yeah, these people don't make mistakes.
Which, once again, I guess they're not going to kill Mulder. Because they don't want to martyr him. But... yeah, it was a scene where, like, basically, if they had gone in and, like, the helicopters never shown up and they're like, "Well, this is pretty fucking weird," and then left, then they wouldn't have changed the movie at all.
No.
Basically.
Could save some of that money on that budget.
There you go. As it turns out, Scully goes to see Mulder, and she's being sent to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, she's quitting.
Mm-hmm. She's like, "I'm out." All of a sudden, they're about to kiss.
Well, he tells her that, like, he is the reason, like, he doesn't want to do this alone.
Right.
That he made her a complete person. I mean, he told her everything except for "I love you."
Right.
Like, she's the one who keeps him grounded.
You saved my ass 1,000 times.
Yeah, you're the one who keeps me from making bad mistakes, and you keep me grounded. You make me be honest with myself and all that stuff, and, like, goes on and on and on. And he goes to kiss her. Have they ever kissed on screen?
Well, they did afterward. There was a budding relationship later on in the show, but at this point, it was purely a professional relationship.
Because you could tell, like, from the dramatic build up of the scene, like the close pan in on their faces and everything, like they've never kissed before. Both of their eyes, like, they were just crying, and now both of their eyes are getting all big, going in for the kiss, and, like, literally just sheets of paper distance between their lips.
Yeah.
And she gets stung on the neck.
And she starts, like, I actually kind of like this about her character, because while this is going on, she gets stung, and she starts having all these, like, physical reactions to being stung. But what I like about Scully is she's sitting there, like, calling out her symptoms. She's like, "My mouth's getting dry, my throat's swelling up," you know, and all this stuff. And she's like, "I might be going into anaphylactic shock," and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that's so Scully.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was like she's running down, like, a mental checklist, but saying it out loud.
Well, I think she was also trying to give as much information as she could to Scully before the medical professional showed up, and she was, like, passed out or whatever.
Yeah, it was definitely
so
serving
that they
two
could
purposes.
help her. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so they go.
The paramedics come.
Yeah, the paramedics come, And they start. Mulder's trying to follow along, and he's like, "Hey, she said that this is going on. She doesn't have any bee allergies, but she was saying that she was having like shortness of breath and her throat was swelling up and stuff like that." And like they're not paying any attention at all.
He's like yelling at them, and they're just pushing him away.
Right.
So he goes and asks the driver of the ambulance, like, "What hospital are you taking her to?"
Yeah.
And this fucking paramedics driver just fucking reaches out a pistol and blasts him.
Shoots him right in the head.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Movie over. It's weird.
Right? All right, next week we got... No, I remember watching that in the theater, and I was like, what the fuck? This shit's getting crazy, dude. So we see where they're loading Scully's body. They have her in one of those capsule things.
The same thing we saw from the boy early in the movie.
Mm-hmm. They're putting on this big old jumbo jet. Cigarette smoking man's in there.
Yep.
And Mulder wakes up in a hospital.
He survived.
Yeah.
Just a graze.
Point blank, that guy missed.
He's fucking fired.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're out of the conspiracy, and now we have to kill you because you know too much. So. Right.
So he
the lone gunmen are there.
Yeah, the lone gunmen that Shane talked about are there, and he names them all the different like names of Wizard of Oz.
Tin Man, Scarecrow, and he calls the last one Toto. Mm-hmm. They basically Skinner shows up. He's talking to him. Mulder's about ready to dip on out. He's like, I gotta go find Scully, and he's like, dude, as soon as you leave this hospital, they're gonna know where you're at. You know, like they're gonna know you left, and they're gonna be tracking your ass. And so he disguised himself as one of his lone gunman buddies.
Yeah, he told the other ones to strip him naked.
Yeah. Byers. Yeah. Strip off Byers' clothes.
I need his clothes. So he puts on Byers' clothes. He walks out. We see someone was watching. He looks in the room and sees that...
somebody's in the bed with Skinner talking. Yeah.
Yeah. And Skinner's saying, I have Mulder here.
Right.
You know, so like Skinner, that's where I was like, they must be like pretty cool with each other.
Yeah, they're boys. I mean, don't get me wrong, he would chew his ass out if Mulder had it coming. Mm-hmm. But they're pretty close, you know.
Then we go back to he's looking for Kurzweil again.
Yeah. We see where like before that Kurzweil had acted like he was being followed, and he was like walking down this alleyway behind that bar that they kept going into. Mm-hmm. And so sure enough, that old British dude, the well manicured man, like shows up, and they don't show it, but he's been killed at that point.
Well, they show him they show him closing a trunk.
Yeah.
So you can assume Kurzweil's in that trunk.
Kurzweil's in there, yeah.
But they tell Mulder, because Mulder's the one who sees, like, walks out of the bar just as they're closing the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And the well-kept man says, I have the vaccine and
her coordinates.
And the coordinates for Scully right here. Just get in the car.
You got 96 hours.
So he gets in the car.
Yeah. He does.
The well-groomed man tells him how he can save her.
Yep.
What the vaccine will do. And he goes on to do some crazy talking.
A lot of exposition right here.
Yeah.
He talks about how... So they talk about a little bit about how his dad had made a deal with this group of guys in the syndicate, saying that basically they would allow them to kidnap his daughter, Mulder's sister, so that basically she would not be like... exposed to this virus that they were manufacturing.
Well, they were going to try to make a hybrid clone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And later on in the show, they actually get into, like, the whole, like, super soldier thing that they were doing or whatever, but I was done watching it by then.
What dude would give up his daughter for that?
Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't. F.O., dude. Not going to happen.
I don't get it. Like, I'm sitting there watching that scene, I'm like, huh? Like, even if I'm in the loop, and they're like, we need a kid to clone. I'm sure you can find one.
Yeah, good luck.
Not one of mine.
There's lots of orphans out there that you can scoop up.
Truman's looking for a place.
Yeah. God. Here we go. He goes into the whole thing. He talks about... This is where they elaborate a little bit more about how the virus isn't having the same effect that they thought it would originally. Basically, they thought that this virus, when people are exposed to it, is going to turn them into these like walking zombies, if you will. And instead, it's actually like a way for these aliens to like procreate instead.
Demolish the human race.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually they will take over. But it's weird though, man. Like, I still have a problem with that whole idea of these guys basically. So the idea is that they're working with the aliens. Basically, from what I gather, they're coming up with a way to distribute this virus, but they're coming about like the distribution method of it really slowly, so that it'll buy them more time, so that they can
develop a vaccine.
Right. And so, anyway, the whole thing's kind of weird, the whole situation with the syndicate dudes, but I digress.
I mean, he talks a lot, and he uncovers a lot of different things, but a lot of it doesn't really add to the story.
Then, yeah.
And some of it's kind of confusing.
Right.
You're just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
This makes no sense.
Right. He said he was ordered to kill Kurzweil and Mulder. He winds up shooting the driver of his limo.
Yeah, Mulder wants out of the car.
Right.
So he tells the driver to pull over.
Mm-hmm.
The driver pulls over. Mulder can't get out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that the well-kept man is holding a gun, and I'm sure he thinks the worst at this point.
Right.
Like, I'm about to get shot, but well-kept dude just blasts the driver away.
Right.
And tells Mulder to get the fuck out of the car. Mm-hmm. And Mulder's like, why? The upholstery's already ruined.
Yeah.
So he does think he's
pretty
gonna get
great
shot.
line, yeah.
He tells him to get the fuck out of the car again. Mulder does. Then he says, you gotta go. When they know what I've told you, that I've told you what I've told you, I'm dead.
They're going to kill me. Yeah. You have 96 hours to track down Agent Scully and give her this vaccine. Otherwise, she's going to be past the point of no return, and you should be lost at that point. And then he hops back in the car, and it blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. You see bodies even fly.
Yeah. So from my understanding, because I actually looked up this movie on Wikipedia as well, they say that he wound up killing himself, basically, so that the syndicate wouldn't.
Like he pushed a button or something?
Yeah, basically in his car.
Oh, he didn't let Mulder get very far away before he did it.
No, he didn't. My thing is, I mean, if you're gonna die I don't know, like, it's either kill yourself or have somebody else kill you. I would at least try to run, but I don't know, whatever.
I'm taking a trip somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
so we're in Antarctica 48 hours later.
Yeah, 48 hours later.
Mulder's driving some type of tractor that can get through snow.
Little snowcat looking thing or something. Yeah.
It runs out of gas.
Right? Dumb.
So he decides to walk the rest of the way.
He does. He looks over this, he's basically at the coordinates, and he doesn't see anything. And so he goes over like this mountainous type of
little
thing.
hilltop.
Yeah. And he looks over, and there's sure enough this facility there.
Looks a lot like the one that was in North Texas.
Mm-hmm. So whenever he goes there, he starts running toward it. Ice breaks, he falls in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Falls into a hole.
He got really lucky.
Really lucky.
Yeah.
Fell in a hole that led right to where he was trying to go.
Yeah. And he didn't have to go through the people in that facility to get there. Awesome.
Plot hole.
Right. I don't know it's a plot hole.
Okay.
It's just
shitty
not
writing.
good writing, yeah. So this is where I would use a fast forward, but
go ahead.
So we got Old Smokey finds his snowcat. Basically, they know that Mulder's down there. They don't send anybody to go after him. And then there's just this whole deal where Mulder's going through this large subterranean structure, and he's working his way down. There's this big, long, cylindrical-looking type shaft that he climbs down like a rock face.
Well, he slides down some shit.
Yeah, he slides down some shit. You get the impression that he's no longer in just some random ice cave. He's in some type of subterranean thing that's going on, but you don't really know what it is. He sees where there's these pods that are like on either side of this walkway, where there's like people that are inside of them. And then he winds up walking into like this even larger open area until eventually he sees the little casket pod thing that Scully was in. And he goes down there to look for it. He finds her like shirt and her little crucifix necklace, and he's basically just kind of walking around, and he winds up finding her. Long story short, that took like 15 minutes in the movie to get through. But
it's all by luck.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, he falls in a hole that leads to a pipe that's right above where she's at.
Right. A lot of convenient shit going on, yeah.
And it for me, it doesn't work later.
No, it doesn't. Because this takes so long to get down there.
And he's falling the whole time.
Yeah. So you got to climb the fuck back up now, you know.
Down, you got to climb up surfaces you couldn't climb down before.
Right.
You
With a
slid down.
barely conscious person you're dragging along.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
He finds Scully. He like busts open this little like pod that she's in. He gives the antidote on this little umbilical cord looking thing that's jammed down her throat.
Wait, I thought he stuck it in her shoulder. He actually hit the
Oh,
cord?
no, he did. He stuck it in her shoulder. You're right. And then it starts to shrivel up.
Immediately.
He
hits it with the fucking vaccine, and shit starts reversing immediately.
Yeah.
And it affects the entire system.
It does. This whole like facility starts tearing itself apart, basically. All the people that are like topside are like, dude, we gotta get the hell out of here. One of the guys is, this is what's weird to me, is they're like, well, what about Mulder? And he's like, oh, he'll never make it out of there. Why didn't they do anything to like go down there with guns and try to stop this dude? I don't get it.
I don't know.
It's weird, man.
I don't have no idea. It continues to make no sense as we go.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulls the tube out of her mouth.
Right.
And gets her out. The first thing she says to him is, I'm cold.
Right. And gives her his parka.
Well, yeah. Oh, shit, you're cold.
Right. You're naked.
You're butt naked.
And we're in Antarctica.
And I think they keep the water at like below 3 Celsius.
Yeah. Like you're lucky to be alive.
Yeah. Let's go. Stupid.
So he's basically helping her escape. They're trying to weave their way in and out from where he came from. They get to like this overhead like ventilation shaft or whatever.
But they only walk like 15 feet.
Yeah.
From where she was
Right.
fucking thing. So she passes out.
Right.
And he picks her up. And he gets to the point he sees like,
Or he does like CPR on her or whatever.
well, he sees that some of these aliens are like getting ready to fucking hatch.
Yeah, because the things, it's starting to elevate the temperature, and so these pods are starting to, like, the aliens are waking up and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
He sees the vent that he supposedly came out of.
Mm-hmm. Bullshit.
Yeah. Because that was way up there.
Right.
He tells Scully to reach up to the vent. She's not reacting, so he realizes she's passed out.
Right.
Hits her with a couple of puffs of
died.
CPR.
Yeah.
She's back.
Right.
And he goes to put her up in the vent. She climbs up the vent. And he's trying to climb, and fucking things are grabbing his legs.
Yeah.
And he's able just to shake them off.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal.
Nah, doesn't matter.
Then
It's an alien.
It's just so stupid. So he pushes her through the pipe, and now they're in the snow all of a sudden.
Well, he takes this woman that's barely conscious, that had just been in like freezing water and like hasn't eaten in days and all this stuff, and they managed to like scale this big ass wall that he like had to climb down by himself before. And they do it in like a matter of minutes, you know, like
seconds.
Yeah, they say before they were like, oh, he's not gonna make it out of there. No, he's fine.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
And one of the aliens is chasing them, but just as it gets there, a puff of steam kills it. I don't know. Just they see this like steam come up, alien's gone.
Yeah, no, he didn't like that.
It's like squirting your cat with a water gun. Don't do that.
Right? That's it, dude. That's pretty strange.
Yeah. So now they're in the snow hole that he fell into originally.
Yeah.
They climb out of that, no problem.
Yeah, they're good. By the way, that's an awful composite shot. Like they use a very noticeable like special effects, like computer image to like show them crawling out. And it has aged badly, but anyway.
They crawl out of the hole.
Yep.
Am I skipping anything here? Because I feel like
I think it was just really drawn out. It seems like we're glossing over it, but this is really all that happens.
There's not a whole lot to talk about here. They get out of the snow. It starts collapsing.
Yeah, the ice starts cracking behind him.
The site that we saw when he first got there, it's collapsing down.
Right.
And the ice starts cracking, so they were like, we gotta run.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Scully's good to go. She can run.
What's weird about it is now she has like full on like ski suit. She has the pants, she's got the coat. She's like, I was like, where'd she...
Was she naked?
Yeah, she was naked. I was like, where'd she get that shit? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Um,
They run, but they can't outrun the breaking ice.
Nope.
And they fall into the hole, and
only to be brought right back up
by a giant fucking spaceship.
Yeah, and they slide right off the edge into the freshly driven snow. And they're like, good to go. So they're both looking. Mulder's like super stoked because he finally got to see like a UFO firsthand. She's like barely conscious.
And he even tries to like wake her up.
Yeah.
Like, Scully, you gotta see this.
Right.
I'm hoping she never saw it.
Just because now he's like crazy.
Yeah. Because she never like lifts her head up.
No, she doesn't.
She just opens one eye. But she's like face first in the snow.
Yeah.
So all she sees is snow.
Move her head, dude. At least turn it
Look
to
at
the
this.
side. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah.
Yeah, so it flies over the top of him.
Then he passes out. She's awake.
Well, he smiles and then takes a nap.
Right. Smiles and naps.
Yeah.
He's tired now.
But now she's good.
It's been a busy 48 hours.
She jumps up and like brings him to
Cradles
her chest.
him. Yeah. So yeah, she didn't get to see the ship. I wrote down she didn't anyway. Maybe she still remembers that like she was falling and like the thing like came up underneath them and like they slid off the edge.
Dude, she was stung by a bee, given a virus, and then they slammed her inside of an incubation chamber full of freezing water and had this alien tube down her throat.
Right.
I don't think you have to show her the ship.
Right.
I think she's like, I get it.
Yeah, it was an alien.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So she didn't get to see the ship. We cut back to there's another hearing in the FBI headquarters.
Yeah, and she's saying like, we have found some evidence. You're right. We found some evidence that shows that the special agent may have been involved.
Right.
With the explosion, but all this other shit.
Otherwise, you're full of shit.
Yeah, everything else you're telling us is
right. We haven't found any evidence to conclude that that's even anywhere close to what happened.
And as she's talking, you're seeing, I guess the syndicate, we'll call them.
Yeah.
They're like burning the cornfields,
getting rid of the fossils down in the Dallas office and shit.
They're just getting rid of all their evidence.
Right. And so then
it's a cover-up.
Sure enough, yeah, it's a cover-up. And she brings the little bee that was on her collar, and because the lone gunman said that they had actually saved it, and she brings the bee up there. She's like, I don't think that there's an agency in the FBI that handles the evidence on hand, you know. Mm-hmm. And so that's the hearing is over. Mulder's outside reading about the hantavirus cover-up in the newspaper.
Yeah, but it's not called a cover-up in the...
No.
They said they contained the hantavirus in North Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He tells her to leave now. Mm-hmm. Now he's breaking up with her.
You can get the fuck out of here. Yeah, this is crazy.
And she's like, no. Because now she knows it's real.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a believer now.
Even now that he knows it's real, he wants to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no fucking sense.
No. But she says she wants to save lives and all that other stuff. We cut to what is it? Foum, Tatooine, Tunisia, and
Tatooine, huh?
Yeah, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
No, that's the real place in Tunisia, though.
Okay.
That's where they filmed those scenes in Star Wars.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in Tunisia.
Mm-hmm.
Cigarette dude's there.
Yep. New cornfield.
There's a cornfield in the desert.
Out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
There's like desert dust all over the corn leaves and shit, but they're thriving.
Mm-hmm. Doing real well. And then a guy comes out and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? You look like you're miserable. He's like, oh, I need to talk to you about Mulder. And he's like, what's going on now? And he's like, I got this little mail correspondence. And sure enough, it talks about in the letter, it says, X-Files reopened, stop, do not, whatever, stop. You know, basically throws the letter down, pissed off. And then we pan out and see where they got these big old Jiffy Pop poppers out in the middle of the cornfield. And that's basically the way the movie ends. Directed by Rob Bowman. So that is it. Now, I made a mistake. I didn't know if I was going to have time to watch this movie this weekend, which I would have. But I watched it on Thursday night, and then my brother-in-law wound up watching our daughter yesterday and found my notes.
What?
Yeah. So... he had something, a little epilogue that he wanted to add to.
I can't wait.
Maybe it's a deleted scene or like an alternate ending or something. He said, enter Tiger Woods. Tiger banks Mulder. Knocks her up. She retires from the agency.
Okay, I think he means Scully.
I think he's talking about Scully.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read it going forward as if he wrote the right names down.
Okay.
Now Mulder is jealous. Hangs himself while he's whacking it to an old photo of Scully. X-Files is closed for good, finally. So dumb. But he went through all that effort, so I thought I would read it out loud.
That's funny.
I know at the time they made a big deal just so everybody's on the same page that like this was the first time in the X-Files we were going to get to see an alien. So I guess that was something. What was your final take on the X-Files movie, Mike?
Okay, So, because I'm not familiar with the show, I forgave some stuff.
Yep.
You know, and I was like, okay, maybe you just need to be able to watch the show to get that. Like the cigarette dude, like tell me who the fuck that guy is. At least something about him. But no, they don't tell you anything. I guess that's part of his character in the show. So okay,
he's just a mystery.
They're keeping the mystery going.
Conspiracy guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm cool. I can accept that. But I feel like all the way up to the scene where the well-kept man blew himself up in the limousine.
Right.
There's some solid storytelling
some good
going
espionage
on.
type mystery.
Yeah, the alien was a little bit hokey, but I get it.
I thought the alien was kind of creepy, actually.
No, yeah, and the fact that like they showed his nails extend like blades was pretty cool. But when we're with Mulder, and the first time we see him in that snowcat, the rest of the movie was like someone just phoned it in.
Yeah, the movie really does in that third act fall apart like a diaper in a swimming pool, dude. Like,
I was like, what am I watching? This dude fell in a hole that led right to where he wanted to go.
Right.
Got the girl. It was a hell of a fight to get down there to her. He almost died several times.
Mm-hmm.
He almost fell off the structure a bunch of times.
Took like 15 minutes. Movie time.
Yeah. And he gets down to her, finds her, uses a container to break. By the way, he breaks the glass or ice or whatever that is encasing her right in front of her face out.
Yeah.
It's like if you would have gone too far, you'd have crushed her fucking face.
Crush her face open, yeah.
Then he gets her out of there. They somehow get out way easier than he got in.
Yeah, a couple minutes, they're good.
Then a giant spaceship flies off, and X-Files is reopened.
Yeah. You know, it's funny going back and watching it, because I actually do enjoy this movie. I own a copy of it. I have both the X-Files movies. But this is I really do like the movie up until the third section. In fact, I would even venture to say that some of the banter between Mulder and Scully toward the beginning of the movie borderline's on great. Like, if you're familiar with the characters and stuff, like it's a lot of fun little witty crap going on. The whole thing with like Special Agent Darius Michaud, and like you're watching the movie and he's like, yeah, I can defuse this bomb, and then just sits there. You're like, man, what's going on? You know, like all this stuff. It's really good stuff.
The opening scene from the Cro-Magnon Man,
right,
all the way to when the building's blown up, pretty good.
Pretty solid movie making there, yeah.
From there to the third act, it's okay.
It's alright, yeah.
Third act, piece of shit.
Right. It's just, and I guess that's the thing. So I would rather have a pretty good movie with like a bad ending than just a bad movie overall. But it just makes you wish that the ending was better whenever you have a decent movie that just drops the ball, you know, at the 1 yard line, really, you know. So
I don't know. Then this giant, like I said, the giant space structure flies away, and no one has any evidence.
Nope.
That event.
They have a B, and that's all. But anyway, I don't know. It was alright. It kind of does make me want to get into the X-Files again. Insanely enough, as that sounds, I've actually tried to go back and rewatch the whole show, but there's just so much of it that I don't have the time to devote to that, you know?
Well,
like,
it's told me that if I ever have time to binge watch a television show, X-Files won't be one.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
I've seen all the X-Files I need to see.
Right. The second movie was called X-Files, I Want to Believe, and it had the misfortune of coming out like the week after The Dark Knight, and so it just got the shit kicked out of it at the box office.
Yeah, because The Dark Knight's a really good
It was a
movie.
juggernaut at the box office, man, but I don't know. Overall, so that's a big thumbs down from you there, huh?
Yeah, not a fan.
All right, well, fair enough. I'm gonna say thumbs neutral, because I like the X-Files, and the first two acts of this movie I thought were pretty solid. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. What are you watching right now?
What am I watching right now?
We watched something last weekend. We watched Tusk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had ourselves a
little movie night.
Like we've talked about. We all know Shane's wife Taylor gave birth to their son 2 weeks ago now.
Just over. Yeah, it'll be 3 weeks on Tuesday.
Yeah, so just over 2 weeks ago. So last weekend, the girls wanted to treat Taylor to just a night out. a nice relaxing time with the girls. And me and Shane got to do babysitting duties, so we had our 2 girls and new Will, and we decided to make it a Kevin Smith night.
Right.
Because someone said the word Tusk. I don't know if you were talking about it.
I think I was talking about it.
And I was like, I've been dying to see that movie.
Yeah.
Let's watch it. So we watched Tusk, and then we watched Yoga Hosers afterward. Both are crazy movies.
Yeah. Yoga Hosers especially, if you're into watching like cloned...
Don't give spoilers out. It's not our movie. We can't give that spoilers out.
That's true. I doubt we'll ever talk about it.
I don't think it'll be the number 1.
It's if you have Netflix and you like hokey stuff, then check out Yoga Hosers because it's different, man.
It's a real campy horror comedy.
Right. It's trying really hard to be like a cult thing, but I don't know if it'll ever get there.
And then Tusk, we watched it, and it's
pretty messed up.
A pretty wild film.
Yeah.
But the fact that it came out of a conversation that he had on his Smodcast, they just kind of were just bullshitting around, and then they asked the fans if they wanted to make a movie or not. It's pretty great.
And the end of the movie being as melodramatic as it is, like he planned that out like from the jump. He knew exactly what he was doing with that.
It's really good.
He thinks it's hilarious too.
So I really like Tusk.
Yeah, I thought it was good. What else am I watching? We've been watching the Jersey Shore Family Reunion.
Oh. I can't judge you because I'm watching some real garbage television right now,
there
too.
You go.
My wife, we're watching The Bachelor.
My wife likes that, too. She and my aunt watch that show, like, for some reason.
Oh, God.
They'll sit there and, like, text each other while the show's going, like, man, did you watch that? Like,
there is a character on The Bachelor, and I'm sorry I forgot your name, buddy, if you're listening out there. But he's a model, a male model. And that, like, encompasses his entire being of who he is.
Oh, no.
It's hilarious. Because he takes it so serious.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I really hope he's just, like, what's that called? Trolling all of us.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he's just trolling
he's
people.
Just messing around.
Yeah. I don't think he is, though.
No. What else am I watching? Oh, I was telling Mike earlier that I found there's a little 4-pack of the Rambo movies that I found at Walmart, which... People that hate Walmart, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm not in that camp. So I've been watching the crap out of some Rambo, or The First Blood anyway. I haven't watched any of the others yet.
Sweet.
But I don't think anything else.
Is there anything coming up that's supposed to be exciting? Oh, Incredible 2.
Incredibles 2.
It came out this weekend, right?
Jurassic World, that new Fallen Kingdom thing.
I think I'm going to take Farrah to see Incredibles 2, though.
That's a good one. We're going to go for Father's Day, but then we're like, everybody's going to go for Father's Day. So
you're probably right.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to get in contact with us, you can reach us by email, cheesymovie@yahoo.com. Our YouTube handle is Casino Royale WCheese, one word. Twitter, Casino Royale WCH, all one word. Facebook, Casino Royale with cheese, all separate words. Instagram, Casino Royale WCheese, all one word. And wherever you find your podcasts, be that iTunes or whatever it is, Podbean, whatever, it's Casino Royale WCheese. Just do a quick search, and we are there. So next week, we are going to be watching the 1998 Eddie Murphy vehicle, Dr. Dolittle.
Oh, boy.
Mike's pumped, so that's we got that. That's, I guess, a thing. But
the hits just keep coming.
Boy, I'll tell you, 1998. It's sad, dude, because we're almost into July now. I'm sitting back going, well, Truman Show is good, But I don't know, man. I guess that's gonna be it for me for right now.
That's all I got, brother.
All right. Well, make sure you join us next week. We'll holler at you later.
Bye.
I'll be back.